And then all of a sudden she's been called into a meeting with the board. And the meeting is basically the guys told the rest of the heads that
She done something.
she's moved. Yeah, she's been moving inappropriate. She's tried to move to him. He's got wife and kids at home. He just wants to let HR know before she takes it even further. So she's gone in the room like, are you mad? She's flipped out and he goes, see what I'm saying? Look at her character. Look, I think we should send her home. He just flipped it on her.
That's it. He's a wizard.
But you know, stuff like that
That's
happens all the
evil.
time. Yeah. So that's why sometimes when it's like, oh yeah, go to the authorities, it's like the same authorities you're telling me to go to, they're not on my side. So what do I do?
Yeah. And where you're going, like...
But I think that's why sometimes, sorry to cut you, that's why sometimes you have to report it in real time. As in, don't give the... You know, like when you're watching a film and you're like, there's a scene where the man's like, I know you committed the murder and I know blah, blah, blah. Brother, you're letting the murderer know you know they're the murderer and you're in the yard by yourself. Big man, are you stupid?
Yeah.
Me, I'll be smiling, yo, you want a Coke, you want a Sprite. The moment I get at the door, that's when I'll do it. So I'm like, sometimes in life, like, you can't let people know your next step. Is it recording?
Yeah.
No, I'm blessed.
No. Oh, yeah, we just cut it out.
What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of the Free Shots Tequila podcast with myself, Marvin Abbey. Who else we got in the studio?
Mr. Exposed.
Tazer fucking Black.
And we got a very, very special guest making her second appearance on the pod. Can we know your name and where you are from, please?
Hello, my name is Sayo Talabi. I'm from Nigeria.
Anidigbo and Sayo.
Yep, that's me.
The man slide your DMs using that line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
There was a guy who said it to me face to face once.
Did it work? Is that yes or no?
He said, of course, I gave him ass.
Of course it didn't work. That's not unoriginal.
What will work in your DMs?
A poem.
Like what?
You know when man actually sent me a poem?
I can imagine I would do that though.
Well, can you read it? Can you read it to us?
Do you want me to let me read it to you?
You're gonna out.
No, but she's not putting what his name is.
No,
But what
no.
if man's been using the same poem elsewhere?
Boy,
Imagine then I'll find out.
It's outing, man, yeah? Was it long?
No, it was like a good night message.
Or haiku?
what's haiku?
Style of poem. But I think it's like, what, 4 lines? 3 lines?
Like a sonnet.
Yeah, it's like
I
what is
knew
it?
I knew.
5, 7.
Do you know what it is? I knew.
Something.
I
Tell
knew
them
Taser was. The moment you said
Okay.
haiku, yeah, I knew Taser's brain was thinking. Whatever I've heard in terms of poetry, I thought he was going to say simile or something like that.
Simile.
Yeah. What's
Wow.
that? Anthology book. What's that anthology book?
Yo,
Remember that book?
It's an ontology.
It
What
was,
you used to have in English.
yeah, anthology. Yeah. I remember that still.
it's not simile though.
Simile, metaphors, and yeah, I don't know. But yeah,
Let
the
me
floor's
screenshot
yours
actually.
still.
That's,
Screenshot,
do
yeah?
you know what's crazy? I didn't actually read this thing properly. I just skim read it.
But is it good?
It's
It's tantalizing, yeah?
ballsy.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, do you know what? This is actually mad. I didn't read this thing properly. Okay. Hope you've read this before getting ready for bed.
Oh, jeez.
Finishing up your nightly routine, to turning the lights down low and catch your skin still glistening from the moonlight's glow. Wow. I didn't read this before.
What is that a man stealing?
Bar has raised.
Oh, is that it?
Oh,
there's more.
There's actually more.
How big's your window? Because for the moon to be
Dirty dancing in the bedroom,
coming through the window, hitting your skin.
I don't think I can read any more, you know.
And dancing. Wow.
I don't think I can read any
Nah,
more.
you have to, man. At least 2 more lines.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
decent though. I can't lie to you. It's
good, innit?
It's ballsy. I can see what you mean though.
Wow, okay.
I think you have to start from the beginning again though.
I can't.
No, because you have
I
to.
genuinely
no,
can't.
because the thing is, you have to build it.
Oh, okay.
So as you're
The
reading
iambic
it, like
pentameter, the heartbeat of the...
pentameter.
Remember, she's
It's
the
a
poet,
beast.
not you, big man. What do you?
Thank you.
No, but ain't that the ACG machine? It's ACG in it.
It's still like the
ECG. Yeah,
Go
ECG.
cardio, guys.
Yeah, it's a
That's
take, exactly.
ABC machine.
Look, you're not serious, fam. You just made up a machine, but because she's a poet, you think we're not going to check her. What machine is that you're talking about? That one, that's for a vet or something, bruv.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So the moonlight. Yeah.
This is mad, you know. Okay. Hope you've read this before getting ready for bed. Finishing up your nightly routine to turning the lights down low and catch your skin still glistening from the moonlight's glow. Standing by your bedside, pulling your flamboyant dressing gown by the left tie, and feel it caress your body parts as gravity guides it downside.
Jesus.
Hey.
Oh my
Even
lord!
Brent said that's bad, you know.
Do you know what's
Who wrote that,
crazy? Do you know what's Do you know what's crazy? I genuinely did not read this.
Do you know what? Do me a
before.
favor.
I said love by him.
Do me a favor.
That's what I was gonna say. Written by him.
Right.
Let's see over there.
Hey, do me a favor.
I can't read the rest of it. I feel like this is really intimate
Brent's
now.
shaking his head
What?
like.
Yeah. Because this, you know what I mean. Brent's getting hot over there.
Do me a favor. Screen grab that and send it to me, please.
Why?
Oh, you want to use it?
What's
It's too much bars, bro.
I'm sending it
wants
to
to
bare
use
bare
it.
American babes. They're gonna think a nigga is
I
sophisticated.
said overseas, you know.
But I said the left
Nah, bro.
dressing gown string.
Wow.
I
versus
watched
your
some
body.
videos on YouTube when they talk to American chicks. They don't like stuff like that.
They do, man.
Bro,
They
the
do
chick said she wants a man to talk mad reckless to her.
Yeah, I'll add some fuck out of here in there, bro.
Bitch.
I said dead ass. Sean.
Add the fuck out of here at the end, man. You get me?
Not all of them though.
When I've seen, like, you know, the videos where the chick was like, nah, you know what I mean? Some of these guys are too sweet. And I was like, what do you expect?
Nah, some of
And
them
that's why
hood
there's a
girls.
little skit. I forgot. No, it was Kai. You know that the streamer.
Kai Sinat.
Yeah, where everybody's talking to the girl like dumb bitch. And she's like, yeah, that's what I like. I was like, nah.
Hey, some of the hood girls
I
in
don't know how people
America,
Like, I don't
they're
like
real
that.
hood, you know.
Yeah, bro. She was like, she loves all of that aggressive shit, like mad aggressive with it, no sweet shit. I was like, so you know what I mean? So when you lot are doing whatever, it's just mad aggy.
My only issue with that is you want a dude that's mad aggy, but then the line's going to be crossed at some point in time.
What do you mean?
But them
Man's
chicks,
going
they
to
like
bad
it.
you up.
Oh,
or
yeah.
grab you or something. And then-
Doggy with the strap in his hand, you know.
and
No,
that-
but some of them girls, they're like, if you look at the way they talk, a lot of them like it. Where they
Yeah.
want to be grips. You know them chicks there, you know, they want to be handled.
Yeah, but you want to be handled until, you can, and then it's, do you know what I'm saying?
It's a thin line, man. It's a thin
That's what
line.
I'm saying. It's a thin line, but it's a dangerous line because if that's what you like, and the guy's super aggressive, when does it? It's not a game to him, innit? So it's not like when does he stop? Because if he keeps doing it, and you like being badded up, it's a recipe for disaster, man. That when I was in Atlanta, I was speaking to a girl, and she works in the army, or she used to be in the army, and then I can't remember what happened. I think the TV was on. And something, there was like a story of like, or it was a TikTok about someone talking about their sister, something. And then I was like, it's mad that happens. She's gone, that happens all the time. And I'm like, serious? She's gone, yeah. Like in the army, like people end up dead. Or like if they end up dead, it's like, it's either, if it's a woman, it'll be someone above her. And she said something that I think is need to know or something. She used a particular term. I'm like, what does that mean? And it means that whatever happens is on a need-to-know basis. It was a crazy term. She was like, yeah, it's
Coded language. and
yeah,
stuff.
it's like normally someone above you. So if someone above you does something to you, there's nothing you can do because apparently if you
It's under military law, which isn't civilian law.
No,
And there's
no.
military police as well.
no,
military
it's not
court.
that. You have to prove it. So as the woman has to prove that superior done something to her, but in doing that, she's going to be shamed by
Because it's snitching.
snitching, and there's so many things that's why some women either don't do it, or the women that do it, something happens to them, or if there's a guy who is like, I'm on her side and I'm going to talk up for her, he will end up getting beaten up or he will end up dead. Like he'll just end up getting shot on the base for some reason. So I said to her, so what happens to the family? They'll be like, yeah, they will tell you that your son has died, but they won't give you,
They
the,
won't give you the
reasons
reasons or-
why,
yeah.
like how they got shot or what happened.
Cause of death.
And I was like, this is what you're going to listen. Like, a lot of stuff gets brushed under the rug in the military because you won't know about it. And I'm like, right.
But that's in the military.
Or like military, army, like those kind of things.
But
But
that's
they have their own, as I was saying, like they have their own. So there's military police, military law, military court. So you know how you would deal with things in civilian court? It's different in military. So some of the rights you have in civilian court, you don't have them in military court. And the way they do them cases and stuff, you could accuse someone like this. You guys could be in court next week. You know, one of those ones where you don't even have time to build on your case and you want to do certain things, but they'll tell you, well, this person that you're accusing, you know what I mean, he's in Afghanistan at the moment, or your witnesses are at war. They're like, we're not pulling this person from active duty. So, you know, find someone else or find another way to deal with this situation.
Or even the person you're accusing, don't fuck with that person, bro. Like there is that as well. That's like this person is too big.
That's why it's scary though. Because
Brother, it's mad scary.
There's a film called Smile. It's like a horror movie, and there's a scene where the nurse is trying to attend to a patient, and a doctor who's above her in ranking comes in to try to assist her. But I don't know what he sees. He acts as if he sees a twinkle in her eye, and he thinks she's on stuff. So there's another part where she moves to go check on another patient, and she's in the room alone, and he goes in, shuts the door, and she's like, she kind of feels like he's about to move to her. So she's like, yo, like, what's going on kind of thing? And he sticks it on her. She's like, no, it's not that. He goes, what do you mean it's not that? So he tries to manipulate the situation. Anyway, she comes out of the room and she tries to speak to a woman who's above her. But the guy interjects and basically says, yo, I need to chat to you, and move the woman out of the way. So the woman's like, I'll come back to the nurse. And she goes off. And then all of a sudden she's been called into a meeting with the board. And the meeting is basically, the guy's told the rest of the heads that
she done something.
She's moved. Yeah, she's been moving inappropriate. She tried to move to him. He's got wife and kids at home. He just wants to let HR know before she takes it even further. So she's gone in the room like, are you mad? She's flipped out, and he goes, see what I'm saying? Look at her character. Look, I think we should send her home. He just flipped it on her.
That's it. He's a wizard.
But you know, stuff like that happens all the
evil.
time. Yeah. So that's why sometimes when it's like, oh yeah, go to the authorities. It's like the same authorities you're telling me to go to, they're not on my side. So what do I do?
Yeah. And where you're going, like...
But I think that's why sometimes, sorry to cut you, that's why sometimes you have to report it in real time. As in, don't give the... You know, like when you're watching a film and you're like... You know, like, there's a scene where the man's like, I know you committed the murder, and I know blah, blah, blah. Brother, you're letting the murderer know you know they're the murderer, and you're in the yard by yourself. Big man, are you stupid?
Yeah.
Me, I'll be smiling, yo, you want to coke, you want to spike.
Yeah.
The moment I get at the door, that's when I'll
Pepsi.
do it. So I'm like, sometimes in life, like, you can't let people know your next step.
Yeah.
If you are gonna, for example, with that, it should be a case of she would have been like, nah, or like, no, later, look, let me just do something. After you leave that room, this is what you done, blah, blah, blah. Because remember, when sometimes you give people that tip off, they panic.
Yeah, but also, what I will say, I hear what you're saying, but you also got to take into consideration the victim, and they don't have that. Some people don't have that in mind. Like, you know, you might be calculating and thinking, nah, this guy, he's moving a bit dodgy. I need to now move a different way. Some people are oblivious to that.
Yeah.
They walk in a room, they don't sense danger. So they're thinking, nah, this guy's cool. Let me offer him a drink, blah, blah, blah. No, this guy is a serial madman. Why are you even engaging with this guy? They don't have that. So
do you know what it is? Even today, earlier on, and this might sound mad, but I had a couple meetings, then I went to go and check my brother, and she works with in TV. So I must have been in West End in the offices. And for some reason, her co-worker was like, I've got a problem with a dude and whatever. So I'm like, she's going, you do a podcast? And I said, yeah. She's going, let me tell you my problem, yeah? Brother, if you heard this issue, they're both toxic. Like, both of them.
did you tell her that?
Yeah, I said, both of you are toxic. But I said, but he's a piece of shit, you need to leave him.
Okay.
But when she was telling me the stuff that he was doing, I'm like, is this what man them are doing?
Okay, go on.
No, but I can't divulge it because it's a bit, do you know what I'm saying? But it was kind of stuff like, imagine like I'm dealing with Sayo and I'm like, you don't look good. Like, no one's going to want you. But then later on, I'll be showing a phone and saying, oh, look, these girls are better than you. Like stuff like that, bro.
That's
like,
so fucked up.
Bro, but then on another day, he'll be like, I want to take you on holiday. Let's go here, let's go there. The next minute, you know we're never going to be nothing. Like, brother, the games, I'm like, this guy, but it's so bad that in her mind, she's doubting him. As in, I don't think he's that bad. I think he does love me. But I don't think no one else will want me. If she's on the vibe of, I don't think I can get anyone better than him. I'm like, but I said, you're nice, you know. Like, listen, go out this weekend and I guarantee you, man, are going to move to you. But in her mind, she's so in this zone with this guy that she doesn't want to chance.
He's knocked her confidence.
He's knocked
before
it.
the emotional foreplay.
And I'm like, is this what people are doing?
That's what people
you know
are
when
doing.
girls are saying, oh, narcissist. That is narcissist.
But that's what they're referring to, though.
Yeah, no. Sometimes the girls, you just don't respond to their message. Narcissist, babes.
No, but remember,
This ain't narcissist. I just don't want to speak to you.
But remember, all it takes is flashes, you know. So you could just show them, like,
that's not narcissist, bro.
No, I'm not saying it is, but what I'm saying is, you know, like, for example, she's gonna come out of that situation, and then she's gonna go move on to better things, yeah. But then if she sees signs of that kind of behavior with the next dude, that's all she's gonna see.
Still not narcissist.
I hear you.
Okay,
but
when it comes to it, like we always say, when it comes to narcissism, there's loads of, I guess, narcissistic tendencies.
Yeah, everyone's got a
lot
trait.
of, you know what I mean? We've all got the tendencies. You know what I mean? To a degree, you might have 1, 2, 3 or whatever. There's a whole long list of them that you need to tick and, you know what I mean, kind of to be diagnosed with it, essentially. So a lot of people, they just see one and they're like, narcissist. You're like, no, that person has narcissistic tendencies, essentially. But what you described, for a lot of dudes, it's a control tactic that some guys use with women where they convince you that the only person in this world that will want you is them.
But how do you get to that point where you say to
it
yourself,
takes
I'm
years.
going to do this?
It's
You know
just,
what I'm saying?
but that's just literally how those people are wired.
That's how they work, innit?
That's how those people are wired. They're
Yeah, but I'm
just
saying,
wired
but
like,
so you grew up and you're like, this is the technique I'm going to use to like keep
but it
a
might-
woman.
no, but they're
it
just
might-
like that. It's not even like, it's some of these
Yeah.
people, like, especially when you look at someone who's a sociopath or, you know what I mean, whatever, they're just wired that way. So for them, it's literally like, cool, I want to control this situation. Like, even from some of them from when they were younger, that's just who they are. So the older they get, their methods of doing things, you know, advance and so on. So they'll get into situations with women and they think to themselves, you know, I don't want to lose this woman. So the only way for me to keep this woman around is to break her down and convince her that no one else will want her.
Man
So
said not to treat her good, which is the obvious.
no, but that's
That
what I'm
doesn't
saying.
cross their
But
mind.
for
So I'm
them,
saying treat her good and treat her like a
Like the queen as she is.
The queen, and then bro, she will stay. Man says I'm gonna break you down. For me personally, do you know what it is? You tend to look at the world through your eyes, innit?
Yeah.
So when you hear wild stuff, you're like, this happens. Because you know you see it on films, or like if that was on a film, you'll be like, this guy's a piece of shit. But you'll be watching it thinking, this is sick. This is a real person.
but I've seen people like that. So that's why, you know what I mean, I can see it when you see it live in action or whatever. Somebody I knew, and I had no idea he used to, you know, kind of deal with women in that way. So it's something I saw and I was like, Jesus Christ, that is wild. Like the way he was chatting to her, and I was like, any other time I'd seen them, perfect. Like, no, you'd see them have issues or whatever, but you know when you kind of get a glimpse of what the other side looks like, and it's like, rah, is that what's going on over there?
But don't be fooled. It's like that on the other way around. So, for example, there's women that like that. I don't know if it's buried in trauma or past experiences, but if you don't speak to them like that, they see it as you're not on them. Or you don't like me, you don't love me.
Or it's unattractive.
Or it's
like,
unattractive, yeah. I want you to
Same
be
thing I
more
was
of a
describing
man.
earlier, yeah.
No, but I know what you mean, but I feel like it might be different where some of those women like to live in chaos. So, for
That's all they
example,
know.
if there's no drama in the relationship, they will cause drama because that's all they're used to. So if everything, and also some
Yeah, but a reaction to the chaos is their indication of, okay, he likes me.
that's what I'm saying. Or sometimes
he
in their
loves me.
head they self-sabotage. So in their mind, when
There
it's
was-
plain sailing, it's like it's too good to be true. I've got to fuck it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
because-
yeah.
There was
So I'm
this video that I saw on TikTok, and it was these two people kind of like having like a date.
Yeah.
So they were sat across from each other, and they were finding out about each other. So one of them said, "Oh, so he detailed what he did for a living. So I think he was like a youth worker, just like an ideal kind of like ideal person. So he was like, oh, I'm a youth worker. I run a non-profit organization. I make this much money, and I organize projects for black inner city project kids in black communities. And the guy who was opposite him pressed the like buzzer. So obviously there's a buzzer in the middle, and if you're not feeling the other person, you just buzz. No like it, no latte. in British English. Yeah. So he immediately tapped, and as that guy was talking, he was like, and then the other guy because it was like a gay couple, and they were looking. So he tapped, interrupted him whilst talking, and he was like, "What the fuck?" And then he said, "I'm sorry, I just think you sound too good to be true. Like I just feel like you're lying." And it was just like, you're literally getting to know this person, and he's listed all these things that you want in a partner, and you're like, oh no. And then hold on. And then he said, okay, cool, sorry, I didn't mean that. And then he asked the producers or whatever to give him another chance. So turn off the light and whatever. They got talking again, and then the guy who was talking before, said that before they redid it, he said, that's really toxic of you. Once he found out that, he was like, it just sounds too good to be true.
Yeah.
So they turned the light back on now. And then as the guy was talking again, he presses the buzzer again and then his excuse this time was, I just think the fact that you called me toxic, I don't know, it's just a red flag to me. Whole time.
That's the dating scene right now, I'm telling you.
Red flag. It was just buzzword. That's all you could hear.
Them buzzer shows are bloody hilarious. There's one where they have the buzzer, but they're blindfolded, yeah? So they're sitting opposite each other and they're talking. So there's this Japanese dude. Actually, I can't even say he's Japanese dude. He's Asian, East Asian. So he's talking to the chick or whatever. She loves anime. You've probably seen it. He loves anime. She loves anime. She loves everything, you know what I mean? And she's attracted, to Japanese dudes or just Asians, like East Asians essentially. It's cold, vibing or whatever. And the dude, you know what I mean? I think his spidey senses are tingling or whatever. A man says, give me a hug. They've gone and they've hugged or whatever. But he knew she's overweight. Our man went and slapped the buzzer. Man was like, I knew it was funny because the way he was like, you're not getting me. Because he was listening to her describe everything. And he was like, there must be something I'm not gonna like it. Man said, give me a hug.
The way he said, can I get a hug, please? And she was like, yeah, sure. Because remember, she's thinking this is going great,
so well.
swimmingly. He's got up, he's hugged her. When he sat down, he's shook his head, he's gone, nah, man.
Slapped that buzzer. She was like, wow. But it was bloody hilarious because you can hear him and you can see his mind is working.
But that's also the problem with like the current climate though. Like people think they have so much option and sometimes you don't.
Human beings are not evolved enough to have
so many options.
To know, to see all that we see, to process all the information, to know that there are this many people on the planet. Yeah. We're not evolved enough to actually comprehend that. That's why we think that we start to look at the macro through the micro, because we think that we have seen so much of what there is to see because we're so exposed to everything, we think we see everything.
But then with that being said, sorry to cut you, with that being said, don't you think it's to the individual though? Because I feel like with great responsibility, with great power comes great responsibility. Spider-Man, innit? So...
Man like Unc. Rest in peace.
I don't know.
Shout out Uncle Ben, you know.
Uncle Ben, you know.
I said no rice.
But yeah, so I feel like the problem with that is I get what you're saying and I agree to a degree, but I feel like one person's macro for the macro to the micro,
into micro and the milligram
is not someone else's macro to the micro.
On the diameter.
You know what?
Kilo in there.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Why is there a kilo in there?
Do you get what I'm saying?
What, miles per hour?
No. So I'm saying, for example, put it this way, like I can simplify it like this. So, for example,
the tiger.
Don't go like the tiger thing was on a bad boy thing. Where did I say that thing again?
Yesterday on your live.
Oh yeah, the tiger to the tiger, bad boy analogy. That's my anyway. I'll get back to that. But I'm saying, for example, I can use Tazer. I can use you, for example. As a girl, you might get attention. You're pretty. You're going to get more attention. So your options are going to be different to another girl, for example. But if you're looking at the micro and the macro the same, it's not going to macro the same. So I'm saying some people look at the world and they're on the vibe of... But don't go like my thing ain't popping, bro. You ain't letting me land, bro. That's why.
I know. Bro, you lost me with the micro.
No, because it's what she said, so I'm using what she said.
But when I said it made sense.
No, don't piss me off. Don't.
Am I lying?
What? You're right.
When I said it made sense.
No, because I don't remember exactly what... But anyway, so what I'm trying to say to you is this, in terms of the macro, yeah?
What's the micro and what's the macro in this situation, please?
People's... What's the word I'm looking for? People, the way people view themselves. The level they put in themselves. So for example,
can I simplify it?
So I'll put it this way, for example, that's like me, yeah? My macro and micro, me saying Rihanna, I want Rihanna, that's my macro. No, it's not, bro. So you can look in the world and see as many Rihannas as you want. I'm not getting Rihanna. So but I need to be honest with myself. I'm not going to get that kind of girl. Okay, I'm going to get this. Where some people, they don't have that understanding. They will go for any... A girl will hit your DMs. You're thinking, what are you doing in my DMs?
I hear what you're saying. Just take the micro and the macro.
Please,
that's where you will fry.
But the thing is, you need that because we're connected.
Can I give you another example?
You know what I'm saying?
Can I give you the micro and the macro?
Can I give you another example?
Or something. You know what I'm saying?
Macro now.
Honestly.
Macro Felix.
You see, let's use my man who's been here for like the past 6 weeks, Chris Brown, So you see when Chris Brown points at the audience, and says, you come on stage.
The macro.
Do you think, as the girl he's asked to come on stage, do you think he's called you because it's you?
You know why that's the best example you've given of what she's discussing? So you look at child stars, right? You know, where they have an overload of information from a very young age. So they're overloaded with choice, options. They get to do whatever they want to do for the majority of their lives. By the time a lot of them are in their adult years, what happens to them?
They fry out.
They are fried. You know what I mean? Because I don't think anybody, and that's why it happens to a lot of them. If you look at the majority of child stars, I'd say I don't know if I can think of any that are normal.
You're not supposed to have that much option, man.
Daniel Radcliffe and those people, you know what I mean? I'd say, you know what I mean?
Because I think he got into another role very quickly after, and he didn't get typecast in Harry Potter. He was kind of lucky. Because think about it, Harry Potter's so big, he could have, that's him. But everyone else, he's kind of...
And I think with him, he was lucky because he played the role and maybe up until he was an adult. Okay, so maybe that
that's
helps.
right. Okay.
But when you look at a lot of these kids, there's an overload. And I'd say more... You know, they'll end up doing drugs. Like when you look at Miley Cyrus, when she talks about she was smoking hella cigarettes. If you hear her voice now,
which is
crazy because she was smoking hella cigarettes. Britney Spears. Even you look at Chris Brown, he's troubled. Justin Bieber is troubled. We can't think of many. When you look at the Olsen twins, bro, they look 60. You know what I mean? Like so many of them, and because they've had, and I feel like so the lives that we are living now was stuff that the celebrities used to have, where they have so many options, where they can be all over the world and meet so many different people. The internet has given each and every one of us that essentially. So now you can talk to people across the world from your house. You can be in so many places at once, and I don't think that, you know what I mean, the majority of people are well equipped to deal with stuff like that. And that's why like it screws people over. It gives you a false sense of I can have what I like. I can do what I like.
Yeah.
Think about it. In your house right now, you can stay in your house right now and you can have whatever you want, from your food to women. You do not need to leave your house to get a woman. You can go online, you know what I mean, chat to a woman, invite her to your house, whether it's a prostitute, whether it's been someone you're chatting to. You can order your meals to your house. You can order your groceries to your house. You can get, what can you not get sent to your house?
But that's what I'm saying. That's the micro and the macro. Because you're saying that, but some guys can't. Some guys have to pay for sex. I'm talking about, there's a few guys that can message a buff team.
No, that's what I'm saying. But
and she comes to the yard. Do you know what I'm saying? There's some guys message a girl, she's looking at it's for the buffing.
Yeah, but I'm saying even just paying for it.
So I'm just saying,
so that's access.
It's self-awareness. That maybe that's
when was the last time you sent a girl a poem?
Good question, Tazer. I would like to know.
I don't send poems.
I'm saying, but there's some man that are sending poems and we're laughing about it on the pod.
No, but
we're not laughing about it. We're appreciating it. We're appreciating it.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
The micro and the macro.
You know he's uncultured.
I think that poem was actually quite inventive and quite good.
It was really good. I wish I'd have actually
It's just ballsy.
properly read it.
So why didn't you?
Because I skim
Were you
read
busy that
things. Yeah, I skim read things.
What are you doing, pounding yam?
Probably making yam and egg or something.
See, the micro and the macro. She's got their
You shut up with this, your micro
So
and
because of
macro.
the macro and the micro, she's like, I don't need to read this because I'm macroing. Yeah. You get me? You're microing, I'm macroing. You get it?
Yeah, but I think there definitely are exceptions where there are people that may be able to handle, you know what I mean, certain things, but I genuinely believe the majority of people in the world are not equipped to deal with the just sheer volume of what we have access to now. Like,
Yeah,
and
we're
it's
just
getting bigger
overexposed.
and bigger.
Isn't that right, Mr. Exposed?
Exactly. You know what I mean? It's just getting bigger and bigger.
Poetry, yeah.
Yeah, and that's why like, even if you look at a lot of these kids now, like what it's doing to people's mental health, essentially, you're not supposed to know what everyone in the world is doing. You're not supposed to have access to how rich people are living all the time. We used to see it on MTV every now and again with a few celebrities, but now we see the people you go to school with. You know, you get to see how they're living. You get to see how their relatives are living. You get to see their family's net worth on the internet. You didn't have that before. It was speculation.
Yeah, but what I don't understand is that what you referred to in regards to MTV Cribs is come out many times that a lot of people were renting yards, just to do it for the show. So now that I'm aware of that, I can't be excited. But
with that,
but at the time we didn't know
those were
that.
celebrities.
Yeah, but now we know.
Yeah, but that's after the
but
time.
at the time it's already done the damage.
It's done its damage.
Yeah.
But even then, we used to look at their celebrity, so it didn't really bother us.
Yeah, it didn't
too
bother you
much
because
it's a celebrity. You know what I mean? He's there. He's different.
It wasn't
from the rest of
it wasn't
us.
attainable. Like not in a rude way, but it's like when you're watching MTV Cribs, you're like, wow.
Yeah,
that's them
that's
over
the
there.
ideal.
Yeah,
whereas,
it's not the girl from your class.
Whereas now, like you've got, for example, when we were growing up, if you was the dusty one in school, when you were growing up, if you were the dusty one in school, you had to actually be, not in a rude way, an actual dusty tramp. Like people would call you, like, sorry, like, I don't do.
Sorry, because you said, you just claim that?
You can't just throw it out though willy nilly though.
Just,
you had to be like the dusty you or
dust.
the weirdo, whatever.
Yeah.
You
No
had
offense,
to be
you
it.
dusty
Whereas
fucking
now people can
trout.
just throw it out and everyone just agrees with it. And
Yeah.
It's like, but this ain't a dusty you though.
Now you being a dusty you.
You're saying it with
school
some
complex.
Because
conviction.
you not wearing, you not having a Moncler jacket, or you not having Nikes. Do you know what I'm saying? That could be the dusty. Back in the day, you had to actually be like smelly or dusty to be called dusty. Now,
The standards.
When you see kids now on the train, you're like raw, like you're dressing like me.
Even
Moncler
their
jackets,
wigs are
this.
expensive.
Yeah.
Their wigs, the
So
way
it's,
they
it's,
go
it's
to
a
school.
lot of money, man.
I remember one time, I think it must have been in year 9 or year 10. I just randomly got heat rash on my face. My face was lumpy, bumpy, all sorts. I was still going and kicking ball and playing kicking upsies with the boys. I was still going to do water fights with the girls because I had and I felt comfortable
no
to
pressure.
do that. Do you get what I'm saying? I felt I was like, it's whatever. Heat rash on my face for like a week. Of course, I got teased, but it's like your mum. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was cool. I was fine. Nowadays,
How is it now?